Well, good morning, boys. Welcome back to the live stream right here on JJ's PC Builds. Before we get started, make sure you got your drinks. I got mine. It's called Bang. Look at that. Bang. So, I got my drinks. Make sure you got your party favors and make sure you're all set and ready. We got a lot to talk about, and one of it's going to be about the AMD RX 6750 GRE, because there's two variants too. There's the 10 gigabyte version, which you can buy off of Amazon or Newegg for a decent price, or the 12 gigabyte version, which is in pre-builts. So I did my investigation. Hey, MTBK, good to see you. Good to see you once again. I did my investigation, and I told you all that yesterday when I was doing graphics card nightmares, I discovered this. But I'm surprised that reviewers did not do anything to showcase this graphics card or graphics cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to look into it and we're going to talk about it so you guys can get a better idea if it's going to be a good low budget graphics card to for a gaming PC, or the fact of buying a pre-built with all the extremities in it, just buying it all at once and be done with it. We're going to look into that too. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people discussing it in the chat. So let's go ahead and just jump right on it. Well, not jump right on it, but y'all know what I mean. All right, since I minimized the screen a little bit, we're at Tech Power Up. We're looking at the AMD right here. AMD Radeon RX 6750 GRE 12 gigabytes. I'm sure the 10 and 12 gigabyte are about, same in performance, because I was sitting there looking at it and there's really not much difference between the two, other than that the 10 gigabyte version has a 160-bit bus and the 12 gigabyte version has a 192-bit. A little bit of difference between the two, but not much. So let's go ahead and just roll through this. It's a Navi 22. It comes with 2560 cores, 160 TMUs, 64 ROPs, and it's 12 gigabytes of VRAM at GDDR6. Like I said, 192-bit bus. It came out October the 17th, 2023. Okay, I don't know what I've been doing since October to now. Why I didn't see this in the market. It must have been something that I missed, but I caught it yesterday to bring it forward to let you all know about today. So, looking at it, it's 7 nanometer process. They had a launch price of $334. Dog, you better go to bed. Go to bed. You ain't missing nothing. My dog. Tell her to go to bed. It's got a PCIe 4.0 X16. I mean, that's good. The transistors is 17,200 million. And it's got a die size of 335 millimeter. Okay, so, but the base clock, looking at it, is 2321 megahertz. Game clock is 2439 megahertz. Boost clock is 2581 megahertz, and the memory clock is 2250 megahertz, 18 gigabits per second effective, just to give you an idea. Now looking at the relative performance chart, the 6700 right here is at 100%. So the 6750 XT is at 106%. So the 6750 GRE is at 100%. Machine says it came out with the 7900 GRE, I think. Yeah, it might have, but the thing is everybody's focus was on the 7900 GRE. I don't think there's any real focus on the 6750 GRE, knowing there's two variants to this. The 10 gigabyte variant and the 12 gigabyte variant, which they put the 12 gigabyte variant into pre-built, a pre-built PC. And they put the 10 gigabyte variant on just selling the card by itself, which is weird. But I'm just letting you know that. But looking at the performance wise, okay, even if you got the 12 gigabyte one, the performance is still not that bad. Compared to the 6750 XT, is only 6% higher. So oh, so you're saying October 17th was the 7900 GRE got released on July the 27th already. I can't buy them right here, and not because I'm a 4060 Ti fanboy. Yeah, I know. Looking at the charts right here, the 4060 Ti 8 gigabyte is only 7% faster. Okay, just looking at that right there on the relative chart that's on for Tech Power Up. So, keeping that in mind, but it has one 6-pin connector and one 8-pin connector. So it does need two connectors. It's got HDMI 2.1, but DisplayPort 1.4a. Now, I know MTBK, you were talking to me about the 1.4a on the display ports for NVIDIA, but it looks like that they did the same thing with these AMD GPUs. So just keep that in mind. Machine says the 10 gigabyte one would be great for solid 1080p gaming. I agree. The 67 GRE could dabble into 1440p, which is true. It can, but 4K, I have my reservations. Okay. When it comes to 4K gaming, I mean, you're going to need something higher power. You know, they haven't perfected the 4K gaming yet. I think, in my mind, I know you guys are going to say differently, but like I'm going to tell you, I got my reservations. Okay. This is what I'm finding out about the 6750 GRE 12 gigabyte version. If you're looking for a pre-built computer, this one is one that I found here that has a 7500F, and it's got 32 gigabytes of DDR5 with 1 terabyte SSD NVMe, and it's got the 6750 GRE 12 gigabyte with the 700 watt PSU. Comes with Windows 11 Home 64-bit desktop, and it gives you all the things right there. It's on Newegg. You can check it out at any time. But it comes with a $90 promotional gift card with the purchase limited offer. So if you're wondering, it's coming with the $90 kind of thing. So think about it this way. I spent $1,300 on an AM4 system with the 4070, the RTX 4070, the 5700X, and the AIO cooler and a 750 watt power supply. This one comes with Windows 11 Home, which is not bad at all. It comes with the AMD Ryzen 5 7500F, 6 cores, 6 core 12 thread, up to 5 gigahertz, which we know that'll go higher. We know it'll go to, what did they say, 5.6 gigahertz. So, but it comes with the Radeon RX 6750 GRE 12 gigabyte version. It comes with the 1 terabyte SSD NVMe. The RAM is 32 gig DDR5 5600. Comes with the air cooler, 700 watt PSU. Comes with the Ningmei GM300P case. Doesn't look like a bad case neither, because it looks like it's got some airflow to it. It's well organized with cable management. It's got a 1-year warranty on the parts and labor, free lifetime tech support, does not cut corners. Wow. So, I mean, you guys can look into it if you want to, I mean, this might be something you might want. From what they're showing on the numbers right here, they're showing that the 6750 GRE on Time Spy Extreme has a score of 5,836, and the 4060 having 4,872. The regular Time Spy for the GRE's got 12,543, and the RTX 4060 at 10,356. Okay, that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, they got a system that's at $1,300 with the 7600, bro. Okay. This one is well below that. And they're saying the 7500F can hit clocks up to 5.7 gigahertz. Okay, so this system right here is efficient, if you're wondering. So if this is something you're looking for right here, then you can find it on Newegg, if that's something you're looking for. Let's say you got somebody out there that doesn't want to build a PC. Okay, you have to understand this. If you get, your customer base, and they say, okay, well, 70% doesn't want to build PCs. They want something to go to that's going to be efficient, that's going to give them what they want. In gaming, business workload and all that, that's the kind of system you want to present to them when it comes to a PC. Now, from what I'm seeing, the parts in this PC, for the price, I don't see it as a bad deal. This is one that I could recommend as being a good deal, because it gives you, it's an all AMD build. Every bit of it is all AMD. So I would imagine that, they would have gave you the unlocked chip, the CPU processor unlocked for the 7500F, so you can adjust it to any way you want. Plus, it has the room in the system to put an AIO cooler if you want to upgrade. It gives you futuristic availability when it comes to the AM5 platform. Okay, you have to understand that. And maybe it'll be good enough to upgrade it to the 9000 series CPU. You never know. So that's something to think about. Upgradability. Who ships it? It says sold by Ningmei Official. Right here. Right here. So it says shipped by Newegg, but sold by Ningmei Official. So it's being shipped out of Newegg. So I'd imagine they have it here. But for $11.99, $1,200 system. I mean, you get a 700 watt power supply. Come on. You get Windows 11 already set up in your system. You get a 12 gigabyte VRAM, graphics card, 1 terabyte SSD. I mean, and the 7500F, which I know clocks up to 5.7 gigahertz. And you get 32 gigabytes of DDR5. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it does not look like a bad system. This is let's I mean, it doesn't look like a bad system. I mean, to me, that looks like, your normal average kind of system. And look at the symbol. Look at the symbol right here. Look at the symbol right here. Is that not a deep cool symbol? I almost have to go look. That looks like a deep cool power supply too. I could be wrong. How much would that cost to build? With the 7500F? Okay, well, you know what? We'll do this. We'll do Amazon and see how much it costs to build. So we'll say the 7500F. Okay, so I mean, you can get one here with the 4060 for $1,000, but for $100 more, you get something that's a little bit better deal. Okay, so you're looking at $300 for the 7500F. So then you get your calculator out. I know you guys love this calculator. God damn. Okay, so you put $300 and you add that onto the bill. Or you hit clear, you do yourself a favor and see if they got something that's worth it. No, see. Now it comes down to this. You do $300 for the processor. Okay, so now you're going to have to look for the motherboard. Or you can do yourself a favor. For 159 bucks more, for 460, you can get the 7700 with an 8-core 16 thread. Let's do that. Let's say we want to do the upgrade for 460 bucks. Okay, so let's say the $460. Just this right here alone, the processor and the motherboard. Even though that's a gigabyte motherboard. Okay, so now let's go to Amazon. Now let's do 5600 megahertz DDR5 RAM. See. Okay, so let's say you want this one right here. I don't like IQ. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to pass that one up. I don't like IQ. Right here. That's it. That's if you want RGB. If you don't want RGB, then you don't have to do the RGB. You can do it without RGB. You can do it right here for $84. Okay, let's say we don't want RGB on our RAM, which I never do anyway. So if this is me buying it, I would do the $84. So we're at $544. Now let's go look for M.2 SSD, 1 terabyte, right here, $91. They got it right here for $79.80. I would go, because it's 1 terabyte on that system, so I would say $80 on the hard drive, the SSD drive. So we can add $80 onto that. Okay, so now we got the motherboard, we got the CPU processor, we got the RAM, we got the M.2 drive. So we got the 4 main pieces. Okay, now we need a CPU cooler. CPU cooler. So, I mean, you can go the deep cool right here. Or if you want to go the thermal right, you can go the Peerless Assassin. A lot of people talk about it. Plus, that's an air cooler, so this will be an air cooler. Let's say we do this one right here for $34. So we add the $34. So we're up at $658. With, understand this, with a better processor and with a better motherboard, even though I don't like gigabyte. But anyway, I upgraded it to the next level with those two. We're still going to keep cooking. So this will handle what we got for the processor, so I don't have to worry about this. You know, if I wanted to, you know, get really fancy, you know, you could go the deep cool 8 case right here, but nah. Theirs are not fancy. I'm not doing fancy. So now we look for a PC case. Okay, so one to equal their kind of case. Probably airflow wise. What we could do, I'll say right here with the Mustex case for 80 bucks, because this is the case I got, so I like the case. So let's say $80 for that. We're at $738. Now this is not with the graphics card yet, and we haven't added the graphics card yet. So now let's find the power supply. 700 watt power supply. So we're looking for a 700 watt PSU. Well, 750 watts. We can go up extra 50 watts for 90 bucks. Or we can go with the cheap brand, which we could go with the 700 watt right here, Thermaltake Smart. Okay, we'll do that for $55. Okay, we'll go $55 for the power supply. Now we got everything inside of the PC. That includes the fans, everything. But that's not the graphics card. Okay, now figuring out the graphics card, I would say with the 12 gigabyte version, this is a white one, so this isn't the one I would be using. This one I would probably be using right here if I was going to do it. This is with the double fans. So let's say 329 bucks for the graphics card. There's your number right there. There's your number. Yeah, but this is just an look, this is just an average. This is just off of the wall right there, the whole PC, $1,122. Okay. Now going back to this one here and looking at this, the one we upgraded compared to theirs. Well, you got to remember, I did an upgraded motherboard, I did an upgraded CPU processor, I upgraded the case because this one has only got 6 fans, while the other one's got 6 fans, so it's still the same. You know, the motherboard was upgraded to one with the better VRMs. The M.2 drive was upgraded because of the speed. The RAM was upgraded due to the stability. So the one that I just put together for $1,122 is cheaper than the one they're having right here for $1,199. So if you minus $1,199 from this, you save $77. Okay. The one that I put together for you, you save $77. Is what it is. So that's how you got to look at it. Do you want to save 70? You want to save $70 and build it yourself, or do you want to buy a pre-built yourself and just buy it out of the box and take your chances? See, that's where you got to look at what you want to do. If you want one that's out of, pre-built out of the box, or you want one that you're going to build yourself, you save yourself $70 on one way, and you save yourself from building the system. And technician price, you're actually saving about $35 to have the system built, if you look at it that way. If you build it yourself, but adding in the operating system, you can go to Windows 11 Pro if you build the system yourself, because you can get the OEM key for your computer for less than $30, and it's the Windows 11 Pro key. Think about that. Instead of having Windows Home on this one system, you can upgrade it to Windows Pro and build your own system. That's the difference between the two. You can do the math. The systems are going to be the same price. Same price. But the one that I showed you is upgraded. And the reason why I say it's upgraded is because right here, you're going from it right here, from a 6-core 12 thread to an 8-core 16 thread processor. Different in SKU. So I showed you a little bit of an upgrade if you build it yourself for the same exact price. No, you're not taking me on a tangent, bro. Believe it or not, I'm showing you what the difference is between building it yourself and buying a pre-built. And I've always said, because a pre-built is not going to give you the same options of you picking your own parts. You're not going to get the same options as picking your own parts. See, what I did was I took their system, upgraded it a little bit, future-proofed for the motherboard, future-proofed it for the 9000 series processor, and gave you an upgraded version instead of buying that pre-built. Instead of buying this right here for $11.99, I took you for the same price, upgraded you, and showed you something better. That's all I did. I mean, look, I'm going to explain this like this. You could either take it with a grain of salt, or you can take it like gold. You can attempt to build your own system. I gave you the footprint of the whole system, a footprint. So you can take exactly and put all those parts together I just said with Windows 11 Pro, and you got a solid system. And if you want to upgrade your RAM, your hard drive space, your SSD, you can get an internal SSD that you can plug in with a couple more terabytes if you want. Or if the motherboard's got more than, let's go back to the motherboard. Okay, let's do diligence with the motherboard. What you do is you find out what kind of motherboard it is. It's the B650 Aorus Elite right here. So that's what you want to look for. You know, I mean, this is future proofed. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's night and day. Because you look at it this way, it's got Bluetooth. So what does that tell you? This has got Wi-Fi. This has got Wi-Fi on it. If it's got Bluetooth, it's definitely got Wi-Fi. So, you know, and you look at the twin VRM design, yeah. Okay, the first PCI slot is 5.0x4 M.2. It supports PCIe 5.0. Wow. You can go to a cheaper motherboard if you want to, but that's with 5700. You know, see, looking at the difference between the two, it's night and day. So basically, like I said, you know, it's night and day. So if that's the kind of motherboard you're looking for, then you know this is going to be for you then. I mean, if you're looking for this kind of motherboard, you know, this will give you, it's got a 8+4 plug-in, AM5 support, SMD, DDR5 memory. It's got PCIe 5.0x4 M.2 slots. Looks like it's got quite a few M.2 slots. That's what's underneath this cover thing. Oh, let me take my face out of the way. You guys are probably wondering, well, you got my face in the way. There. I take my face out of the way. I mean, you can't. It's got 6 PWM fan headers, not bad. Yeah. It's got a 70 amp smart power stage. Not bad. Not bad at all. 70 amps? Yeah, that'll definitely pull the power. What type of layers? It says it's got an 8-layer X2 copper PCB. Just made a custom search for laptops with at least 8 gigabytes of VRAM with the price cap of $1,199.92 results. Anyway, yeah, I mean, this whole system right here has got 32 gigabytes of system RAM and it's got 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So, looking at, you know, both of them, the layers of the motherboard, I was giving you the layers of the motherboard. It's an 8-layer motherboard. So it's not, it's a very stiff motherboard. I, I, I mean, let's go into the specifications of the motherboard. It supports 7000, 8000 series, and I bet you it's going to support 9000 series. Supports DDR5 RAM, system RAM up to 8000 overclocked. Dual channel memory architecture, not bad. It'll support the RX 16 memory modules, so that's 64 gigs. I mean, it's got Wi-Fi built on, Bluetooth. I mean, this is just it. It's hard to explain. I mean, this is just totally. It's just totally, you know. Most of your motherboards become between 8 and 12 layers. If you get a motherboard, back years ago, they were doing 12 to 14 layers. Because the more layers that you had, the more they can separate the wires and stuff that they put inside there to give you more channels and stuff like that. So, how much is the Mobo by itself? We will look that up. We will look that up. Amazon's selling it for $170. Amazon's selling it for $170 by itself. So, I have to say, we will take this with a grain of salt. Driver support for the latest GPU generation is better, too, as you mentioned, Jay. Yep. AMD RDNA 4, NVIDIA Blackwell, and Battle Mage 2024. You're welcome, machine. You're welcome. And look, when you go to build your PC, okay, depends on what parts you pick, that's going to make the difference. Okay, so if you get, and I'm going to suggest this, when you go to look for your processor, do it in a combo, because they specifically pair the CPU processor with the motherboards. Specifically pair up those two. So, when you go to purchase your CPU processor, get it paired up with the motherboard in a combination, because you get a cheaper deal doing it that way than you do just buying the processor and the motherboard by itself, I think. I enjoy seeing you learn. Best student ever. Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to bring you guys into the light of, you're learning how to, some are learning how to build, some already know how to build, okay, that are on this channel. But what I'm bringing it to is, if you don't understand what I mean by, starting with your CPU processor, usually some people say, okay, well, what we'll do is we'll take and let's just say, okay, we want to do the 7800, X3D, right? So you'll go and look for the 7800 X3D, price shop to get the lowest price first. That's how you start. So right here, they got one for $593. They got one for $569, $570. So you keep looking and make sure. See, they got one here, the 7950 X3D. This is how you shop for your CPUs. Okay, now spending that kind of price for a 7800 3, and when you can get for 566 the 7950 X3D, doesn't make sense to go with that. But they got the 5800 X3D if you want to do AM4. But these gaming systems that they put out there are like $2,000, $2,500, the ones with the 7800 X3D. Look at this, $2,600 for a 4080 Super and a 14900 KF. $2,600. That's not, to me, that's not worth it. $2,200, almost $2,300. It's not worth it. Okay, I'd rather build the system myself. And to know that they're selling these 7800 X3Ds for $594. Do not buy right now. CPU processors, do not buy anything right now. Nothing. They jacked up the prices on the processors. Why would I buy this one when it was like $345 a couple weeks ago? Come on. Why is it $593, $594 now? Why would I do that? When I can go to the 8700 right here, upgraded, 8700 for $329. This is an AI chip. This right here. This is more future-proofed. Even though that it's got integrated graphics on it, it would still be a viable processor. I mean, for the price point, this one would be better at the price point it's at right now, because they did hit 10 gigahertz with this processor. So I would really think about this 8700G before I would decide to buy a 7800 X3D. See, right here. Now that changes the ball, because somehow this $345 processor pops up. You see, you got to really, when it comes to your CPU processors, you really got to shop. This is why I keep looking to find out why. Okay. So what's compatible with the 7800 X3D? So why don't we go backwards? Just a little bit. So we do 7800 X3D combo. That's better. Right here. This comes with the motherboard, and that's Wi-Fi. I mean, yeah. I mean, future-proofed. It's Windows 11 compatible. They just put Windows 10 there. They haven't upgraded any of the site. So, if you are looking for a 7800 X3D, you can get it with them. You can get it with an Asus motherboard and all the extremities. And believe it or not, if you do it correctly, you can get, for the same price, you can get a 7800 X3D motherboard combination for the same price you put into this one. For the same exact price you put into this one. Right here. Right here. Doesn't that tell you something? That you can get that level of performance that'll future proof you, and for 1440p up to 4K, depending on the graphics card that you buy, to get you there. What, the one I just showed you? This one right here. This combination for $594. Hi, Dr. S. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. So, maybe for about $150 more, you can go up to a 7800 X3D, or you can save yourself a couple dollars, maybe you'd be able to save a couple dollars. You can go up to the 8700G and totally cut out the integrated graphics. I mean the discrete graphics card. So you would be knocking off like a couple $100 just using the motherboard, the integrated graphics of the 8700G. You can do those too. You can do it with, you can upgrade your RAM, and get yourself some higher speed RAM, and save yourself a couple bucks and probably get it down to like $900, maybe less, $900, $800. Well, actually, no, you'll get it down to about $700. Machine, the 8700G gives you a processor that has a higher equivalency. If you use the right type RAM, you can game with it all day long. Inland is more or less like Micro Center. If you're wondering, because Micro Center sells inland products. So that's more or less like Micro Center products, if you're wondering. Well, that's an Asus motherboard, yes, but it's not Inland. Inland's the name of the company. which supplies Micro Center with the parts. I've noticed that, and they talked about it many a times about Inland. So, you know, I mean, but if you're looking to, let's say you don't want to do that one, you want to do a cheaper one. I mean, you can go to the MSI Pro 650p. You can do that one there. You can do a gigabyte right here, the Gaming X. The motherboard alone is $250.76. If you want to go Asus, you want to do a B650 Tomahawk, you can do it with MSI. You got Micro Center. It looks like they give you a Trio for $663. Yep. And a G-Skill MB850G, that's an 850. For $663, that's not too bad. Depends on what you want to buy. I mean, I don't know your flavor. I mean, if you want to go the AM4 platform, here you go. You get a 5800X3D DDR4, for $400. It's just best to spend the $150, $60 and go up to the AM5. So if you got the $150 or $60 to go up to the AM5, then go up to the AM5. Yeah. Hello, Lucas. Good to see you. Good to see you. But it depends on how you want to buy. If you're building your own PC, then I would look, like I told y'all, look for the combinations motherboards with the processor. You can also always look for CPU. That's if you want to look for, different combinations. They got cheap ones. I mean, this is more or less like a combination that I would have. But me, I got the B550 Strix. I got the Asus motherboard. They got a 5600 with the Asus Prime. They got a 12700K with, depends on what you want. I mean, I could lead you to where the product is, but it's up to you to buy the product. Me, myself, this would be more or less like a combination I would probably get, which it is the combination that I got. This is what I bought. This is what I bought from Amazon. For my PC right now, what's in my PC right now is what you see on the screen. It's got the B550A. It's the Strix motherboard. And the 5700X. And that's the combination I bought. So. Oh, Dr. Esch, this is the combination I got. But for, if you want to go up to that next level, that's up to you. If you want to go up to that next level, to the AM5 series and future-proof yourself. But from what I've been seeing is that I'm still seeing that AMD is still releasing CPU processors on the AM4 platform. So the AM4 platform is a very tested platform. Everything is pretty much tested on it. So, compared to the AM5, which is newer, AM4 is well tested on a lot of the CPUs, motherboards, and stuff like that. For reliability and dependability, then, AM4 is a great platform. It's, years of testing. PC part picker is showing a 5700X3D and 5900X. Nice price for an upgrade AM4. Yeah, which is true. They are nice upgrades. I mean, I can go up to a 5900X on this motherboard right here with the Strix. I can go up to a 5900X. I wouldn't have no problem with that. I'm running the graphics card nobody likes. The RTX 4070, the one with the 8-pin plug-in instead of that 12-volt high power connector that keeps burning up on everybody. I'm using the one with the 8-pin connector. So, at least I know my RTX 40 series graphics card won't burn up. So, that's how I look at it. But a 5900X, yeah, that would be my next thing if I was going to move up in CPUs. I can go right to that, or I could go the 5800X 3D, which is a little lower in price than the 5900X. But it depends on if I want to stay with 8-core 16 threads or go to 12-core 24 threads. I would have to make that decision. So that's how I have to look at it. Do I want 12-core 24 threads, which with Microsoft right now, the scheduling, see, that's what comes into conflict with me, is because anything that's above an 8-core 16 thread is more or less like it's having conflicts with Microsoft in their scheduling. So, it's kind of teetering. So, hello, Oregon. Good to see you. Yeah. Well, the 7800 X3D is better. Yes, I do agree with you. So, yeah. I mean, if you were to get, like, let's say you want to, I know everybody's, and understand this. Everybody's kind of hating on Asus right now. Okay? I wish everybody would stop hating on them because of one little thing that you have one person in there doing the RMA crap. Let's get past that. Okay? If you're having that much problem with their product, it's where you bought it from that you're having the problem with. So, let's put up some likes for Jay there. Thank you. Put some likes on this. Would appreciate it. If I were to get a 7800X 3D, to be honest with you, I would do it this way. For $593, I would buy this right here. If I were to do this, is because it's an E motherboard. The letter E motherboard. Okay. So it's got potential. I mean, they did an update on the BIOS that'll allow the motherboard to go up to a higher specification when it comes to the capacity of the RAM, the system RAM. So just to let you know, on French Amazon. Yeah, well, I'm doing it in the United States, my man. I am doing it in the United States. I do apologize. I don't have the function of other um, display sites, but anyway, if you were going to do a 7800X 3D, I would say don't go with, if you haven't bought anything yet, I would say just go up to the AM5 platform. This would be a perfect milestone for, you to start with and then build up around it, like with your M.2 drive, your graphics card and all that. But if you got a decent graphics card and you can plug it into this system, so that saves you some money right there. You can spend about $126 and get 32 gigs of RAM, maybe cheaper. I mean, the hard drive, the SSD drive, depends on what size you want. You can go up from $60 all the way up to, $300 to say on your hard drive. I got 18 terabytes of hard drive space in my PC right now. And that cost me equivalent of $230 to get there. So that gives you an idea. Then, I budget shopped, as you can say, when it comes to my hard drive space. Because I got a regular hard drive that is more or less to a server hard drive for storage. And I use M.2 SSDs for content creator work and for storing my programs and my operating system. So it's pretty much, it is what it is. But my system is basically like future proofed, and I'm going to tell you why. I have the RTX 4070, which I don't have to worry about for the next 3 or 4 years. If I want to take my system up to the AM5, all I need is the RAM, the motherboard, and the CPU processor. In the same case, I don't have to change the case. I don't have to change the power supply because it's already 750 watts. So basically, I only got 3 pieces to change. That's the motherboard, the CPU processor, and the RAM. So if I change those 3, I can still be future-proof for 8-9 years just by changing 3 parts. So that makes it even better when, you got a system that you can carry for 8 to 9 years just by changing a couple parts. But you still got the same case. So that's how you got to look at future-proofing. Let's say you're coming from a DDR3 system, but you got a nice, decent graphics card. So you want to take it to the next level, then, you can upgrade your motherboard, your system RAM, and your processor, your CPU processor. As long as you got a great case, that's less you have to spend. If you got it all set up like that, it's less you have to spend. So you take part of your one system, make your new system, and move on. So, am I getting sense to everybody to, basically taking your original system, taking it apart, and upgrading yourself? That you're really only going to upgrade like 3 parts? If you really think about it, it's just your motherboard, your CPU, and your RAM. Those are really parts that you're going to be changing when you jump your system. If you got a decent graphics card. So, me, I do. I can jump my system all the way up for 8 to 9 years. I can just jump the motherboard, the CPU, and RAM and go up. if I want to future proof my system, which it is. So I don't have to worry about hard drive space. I don't have to worry about cooling. It's all taken care of. I don't have to worry about, the PSU, the power supply unit. It's already up there where it needs to be. And it'll handle the higher motherboards for 8 or 9 years. So, yes, this is taking your original system and upgrading it to the next level. If you wanted to do that. Or you can buy a pre-built system. That's up to you too. I mean, but it depends on the graphics card that you want to use. Me, I have a mid-level graphics card. It's not low end and it's not high end. It's right in the middle. When you buy your graphics card, you buy them right in the middle. Don't buy low end. Don't buy high end. Buy it right in the middle. And everybody thinks, and y'all are going to think I'm crazy for saying that. I'm not crazy for saying it because, number one, the software updates of your graphics card get better and better. And the company that you go with, let's say NVIDIA or AMD, they're making it better and better. So you can take your same graphics card and make it better and better as it goes on down the road. So you got a full 5 years. And the updates, you got a full 5 years and some. So that's how you got to look at it. That's how you have to look at it. I think you're crazy anyway, Jay. Thank you, machine. Yeah. I'm always crazy. But it's something to think about when you're building your PC. There's much more to it. And everybody's sitting there thinking, oh my God, I got to throw. And this is the mistake you make. You say to yourself, oh, I got to throw my PC away to start out fresh. Bullshit. Never, ever, ever throw your hardware away. Never. And I'm going to bring this point very clear to everybody. Because you see these other people on these other channels sitting there telling you, oh, you need to sell this, you need to sell this. You're making the biggest mistake in the world when you go to sell what you already have for a cheaper price than what you paid for it. Never, ever, ever sell your freaking hardware. Always keep it for 10 years and then sell it. Never sell it from the first year on. Basically, you buy it, use it for a year, then sell it. You're selling it for like half the price of what you paid for it, so you're losing money. Come on, guys. You got to be crazy. That's the reason why I keep all my hardware. The only time I don't keep hardware is if I take and buy it from a store and it doesn't meet my specifications. Then I take it back and get a refund. At least I'm getting my money back. You know, you got to use when you're buying parts, it's so simple, it's insane. Never sell your parts off, especially your old PC, because there's many parts in there that you can use for your next system. Don't think the parts are bad just because you're done using it. Take it along for the ride. It's like your AM4 system. I know a guy that has a B450 motherboard. Like me, I have an Asus B450 motherboard as well. Okay. I told him Asus did an update for the B450 motherboard, which you can upgrade it like you do the B550. So that means you can use the 5800X3D in a B450 motherboard. Surprise! And that's a $79 motherboard. Surprise! That you're using with a $345 processor. Surprise! That you can get probably for $289. So guess what? You just cut your price even down. The only difference is that you run the B450, you're running at PCI 3.0. So what? My operating system on my B550 motherboard is running at PCIe 3.0. Yes, I do have a 4.0 slot, but I use that for my secondary, for, content creating videos. I use my PCIe 4.0 for my secondary, not my operating system. I use my operating system at the 3.0 slot. So, B550 gigabyte I have. If you got a B550, I mean, you can go up to the 5900X, you can go up to the 5800X 3D, almost same price. You can do a 5950X, the Ryzen 9 5950X. You can do that too. What was that, 16 core, 32 thread, I think? You can do that one. You can do many things with the hardware you have. So don't think you can't. As long as the VRMs on your motherboard are well supported, let's say, because mine is a 12 plus 2. Mine's a 12 plus 2 on the VRMs. Does that matter? Yeah, it does. Because that tells me that I have enough power on my motherboard to support all the way up to a 5950X. So, if you got that kind of support, then you're fine. Even doesn't matter if you got Gigabyte, doesn't matter if you got Asus, doesn't matter if you got MSI, as long as your VRMs can handle the amperage draw. If they can handle the amperage draw, you're fine. Because there's some process. Now with me, I undervolt my CPU processor, but I still get the same level of performance. And this is where everybody made the mistake with the AM5 series compared to the AM4. If you go to undervolt, and I just realized this because I was talking to a friend of mine the other day. He said to me he did the same undervolting on an AM5 board, and he did the same undervolting that I did on an AM4 board. And he said to me that the AM4 board does better on undervolting than the AM5. I know, didn't we, machine? We got way off topic. And this topic started with the 6750 GRE, the 10 gigabyte and the 12 gigabyte variant. That was supposed to be over in China, but finding out now you can buy the parts here in the United States. Except for the 12 gigabyte version, which starts off right here. So this is how you buy the 12 gigabyte version for the 6750 GRE 12 gigabyte. Now you can buy the 10 gigabyte version for $300, or you can go to Amazon and spend $329. They got a white version, and they got the 2-fan black version. So this black version for $329, that's a fair price. Now, if you want to get the white version, it's cheaper to buy it on Newegg than it is Amazon, if you're wondering. So we'll go back on topic. I just lost League of Legends beginner bot game. 3 players decided to vote for giving up. 4th one was AFK. Me having 2 idols and a big farm after 5 minutes down. Okay, well, the thing is this: the 10 gigabyte version, we'll just give it basic in a nutshell. Okay. Basic in a nutshell, if you look at it, it's still Navi 22. It's 7 nanometer processor. It's still the same unified shaders between the 10 and the 12. I'm going to give you the similarities between the 10 gigabyte and the 12 gigabyte. They're the same amount of shaders. They're the same amount of core frequency. One's 10 gigabyte of VRAM, the other one is 12 gigabytes of VRAM. They're both GDDR6. The 10 gigabyte version is 160-bit bus. The 12 gigabyte version is 192-bit bus. The Infinity Cache is still 32 megs on both. They both do DirectX 12 ray tracing. They both are zoned for Windows 10, Windows 11. You can get a 2-fan version, a 3-fan version on either one of them. They're both future-proofed for RDNA 2. I haven't heard nothing on RDNA 3 for the 6000 series. Just to let you know that. They're supposed to have come out with open sourced RDNA 3 for the 6000 series. Some of it, not all of it. Okay. Both GPUs, they both have the DisplayPort 1.4, 3 of them, and they both have HDMI 2.1A for your monitors. They both carry the 6 and 8 pin connector plugins, and they both require a 700 watt PSU. But everything else is pretty much the same. And yes, the 7600 XT is pretty much right there too. But the 7600 XT cost more than the 7600 GRE. Depends on where you buy it from. So, when it comes to the pricing, you're going from a market of $270 to $330 between the 7600 XT, the 7600 GRE 10 gigabyte version, and the 7600 GRE 12 gigabyte version. Okay, you're still within the same price to performance ratio between the three. So basically it is what it is. It's either you want to buy a pre-built with the 12 gigabyte version, which that will future-proof you for the 8000 series CPU processor for AMD for AM5. You know, depends on what you want to do. So it's something to think about. Really. It depends on what you want to buy. Me, myself, to be honest with you, it's not a bad card for light gaming, good for office and stuff like that. Content creator work, I wouldn't think so much about it for that kind of card. It's not really the kind of card you would use for content creating, but as far as with gaming and stuff, for light gaming, yeah, it would work out well. It confuses me if someone confuses the 7600 and the 66. I know, bro. I know. Some people would get confused between the 7600 and the 6700. But this is the 6750, so you can't get confused off of that. There's actually 3 variants. 67 or 6750 XT, 6750 GRE, 10 gigabyte, and the 6750 GRE 12 gigabyte. Now, depends on where you want to look. If you want to get, like, you know, the RX 6700 XT, you can get one from ASRock for $289, $290, $10 cheaper than the GRE model. And that comes with the 12 gigabytes GDR6 VRAM. So, depends on what you want to do. Me, truthfully, who's going to pay look at this. Look at this. $5,068. Who's going to pay for that? Not me. I mean, just shop and do your homework. You can do refurbished if you want. This is an open box. You know, that depends on if you want to buy from Newegg or you want to buy from Amazon. Let's say you want to shop at Amazon. You don't like Newegg. Not a lot of people do like Newegg. So let's say the RX 6700 XT. Okay. They got a 6750 XT for $309. XFX. Not too bad. They got one for the 6700 for $300, so $9 more go to the 6750. See, you know, it's called use your common sense. You know, that's all it is. Use your common sense. Or, you know, if you want to go up to the next brand, if you look here, the 7600 XT, 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Right here, $330. So for $21 more, you know, it's kind of use your common sense. Think about it. I mean, the 7600's $259. I mean, depends on the brand you want to buy and everything else. I mean, you're just paying for the name when it comes to that. But like I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it again, this is the 6750, the 6750 right there. 6750 GRE is something they sent over to China, but they're not selling it now, so they brought it over here to the United States. Certain companies are only selling it, so you do your math. But I can tell you for $329, I'm not going to be buying the 6750 GRE. I'm going to buy the 7600 XT with 16 gigabytes of VRAM. That's what I'm going to be buying. And it gets RDNA 3.5. So what am I going to be buying? Something that's a lot better, that's more into the future kind of thing. So it's kind of use your common sense when you buy things. 7600 XT, that should be the best seller soon. Yeah, it will be, because for the simple fact of the amount of RAM it has, that when you go to play your games, that it doesn't bog it down. It should be able to keep up. Seen the reviews from other people on it. It should be able to keep up. Alrighty, we'll have a gander at Discord. Give me a moment. We're having a Discord moment. Ready. Let's get down there. Oh, yeah, I know. I've seen that machine. I already know that the GRE sits at a certain level, but from what I pulled up on my charts, the 7600 XT is going to be a better viable option for the same price. Okay? It's going to be a better viable option for the same price. So, I want you to keep that in mind real quick. Well, I understand it's on topic, but you know me. I turn around when news comes up and, comparing to this certain card, I really, for a child's computer, yeah, the 6750 GRE would be good for a child's computer. But as far as an adult's computer, I would go the 7600 XT, just to be honest with you. At the same price point. But you get better performance. You get 6% better performance with the 7600 XT. It's kind of obvious. Well, you know me, man. Show everybody Discord, then they're going to want to get there. No, I'm just kidding. Yes. That's what Machine wanted me to show y'all. The 6750 GRE right there. Knowing where it sit between the 2070 Super and the 6650 XT. And then you got the 7600 and the 7600 XT for 6% more performance than your 6750 GRE. I already know that, brother. I'm pretty sure everybody's got that idea and that notion now. But you look at for the matter of having 12 gigabytes of VRAM compared to 16. So you're getting 4 more gigabytes of VRAM for the same price. The difference is that the 6750 GRE has a 192-bit bus, but the 7600 XT has a 128-bit bus. Little bit of a difference. But AMD has a little bit of a twist on the 7600 XT. So that's my opinion on that. So depends on how you want to twist the marble. Okay? If you're looking for the 6750 GRE, the 10 gigabyte version, it's got a 160-bit bus, but for $329 at the same price of the 7600 XT. I know. It's 160-bit compared to 129-bit, but I'm looking at the amount of VRAM compared to the two. So, and performance, 6% more performance. Not a lot of people are going to want to really buy this for themselves. Having an adult computer, they're going to be looking to go to the 7600 XT. I'm just going to be honest with you. That's what people are going to be going for. They're not going to look at the 6750 GRE. they're going to think it's like another 6750 XT. Pretty much is, you know. But the 6750 XT is 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So, yeah, it makes it 10% faster, but you know, I thought it was a cool look to look at the 6750 GRE, since we don't, talk that much about the lower style processor. I mean, GPUs. The cheaper end of the GPUs. We really don't talk about that much, which we should be talking about it more, because a lot of people are going to be looking into it more. So, yeah and no. See, now when you understand, you don't have to clock your GPU. If you clock your CPU on your computer correctly in the motherboard BIOS, with not overheating everything and everything else, then you'll get a better performance on your GPU. Because by balancing your GPU to your CPU, you get more performance. But if you run it unstable, you run your PC unstable by the CPU itself trying to get more power, then you're going to run and have a lot of problems. A lot of people are talking about, oh, I can't play the games because guess what? Intel's processor became unstable. Yeah, because you're sitting there in the BIOS trying to overclock it, and try to get the highest amount of clocks out of it, but still don't understand the fact of that you don't need to do that. You let the processor clock itself. I got mine set on auto. I hit 4.750 gigahertz when I'm at 100% of my CPU. I don't allow it to clock any higher or hit dangerous power levels. The most that my CPU processor will hit is 85 watts. Even though that it's a 105 watt processor, that'll hit up to 143 watts. I do not let it go over 85. So that right there, with my RTX 4070 clocked at stock. See, now the GPU's clocked at stock. I don't run mine overclocked. I only overclock it when I'm testing it. If I'm not testing it and I'm playing games, I don't overclock my GPU. Never. My CPU will balance my GPU, so I don't need to worry about that. Hey Jay, I got my CPU undervolted. It's running at 85 watts stable now. Cool beans, bro. Cool beans. It's not, once you get used to doing it and it stays stable and solid, then you'll notice that the heat coming out of your PC will diminish. Use less power, better performance. You'll notice that you don't have to push it to get the FPS you want. I hit 200 FPS on most of the games I play, so I never have to worry about it. Even if I set the game level at, 60 plus FPS and not go any further, I know my CPU and GPU are well equipped to handle beyond that. So it's going to keep it stable at 60 FPS solid, no matter what I do. So the heat has dropped 10 degrees. Well, that's good. You look at the You look at the temperature of your CPU, but don't forget the hot spot. The hot spot always sits 10 degrees higher than the the amount of heat on the CPU itself. So the amount of heat the cores are putting out, you still got that hot spot. It does not go over 65C now. It was in the mid 70s. But now you ask yourself this question: does it run better than it did before? Does it? Yes or no? Think about it. Does it run better than it did before? And Dr. S, that 6% does make a difference. Depending on how you set up your bias, your motherboard bias to your CPU, that 6% makes the biggest difference in the world. You can really minuscule that 6% and get it a little bit higher. So, well, if it's running less heat, you definitely notice the difference getting the same. You look at it this way: you get the same amount or better performance out of your processor with less heat. You're not killing your processor. That's the whole idea of undervolting, is not killing your processor, getting equal to above performance from it with less amount of power usage. I mean, if you're getting the same level of performance but with less amount of heat, then you're in the right direction. And right now, the sweet spot, if you had 16 gigabytes of VRAM from the 7600 XT, you would not have to worry about it losing VRAM at all. Most of your games now these days are not going to hit 16 gigabytes of VRAM. The most they're going to either hit is 8 or 12 gigabytes of VRAM. But future proof yourself, giving you that extra 4 gigabytes of VRAM will carry you not just 5 years. That GPU could carry you all the way up for the next 9 years. Depending on how they're building games, that's how you got to look at it too. What kind of games you play? What kind of different games you play? What's the average in between the games that they use, the amount of VRAM they use? You look at the average of all the games you play and get an estimate of the kind of VRAM you need and the kind of power, balance your power out. Me, my 4070 will play mostly all games, which I know that it'll play mostly all games. And it does really good at 1080p and 1440p. So I look at it that way. I'm not looking into 4K gameplay. That's more or less like for your higher bend GPUs. Stuff that like your 4080 Super and your 4090s and so on. Like your 7900 XT, your 7900 XTX, and beyond. That's looking at the 4K version. Now, anything below that, I would say 1440p to 1080p. That's what I would say. Well, I'm glad you're happy you know how to do your BIOS now. You did your homework, you know the research, and you figured out what combinations to use to bring down the amount of power usage on your processor. That's the right step in the right direction of learning how your system works. That's perfect. The higher VRAM will also give you better 1% lows, which is true. Stuff the reviewers forgot to mention sometimes. Yeah. I don't really worry about the 1% lows, and this is the reason why. If you have enough VRAM on your graphics card and you're getting high enough clocks on your graphics card and your processor is not bottlenecking your graphics card and you got everything balanced to the T, balanced, then the 1% lows don't mean nothing at that point. Because the only reason you would notice the 1% lows dipping down if the game was glitching. If you're getting stuttering in the game, then the 1% lows might kick in. But any other time, I don't look at the 1% lows. Why would I? As long as I know the smooth gameplay and it's not glitching, then, you know, there's no sense of looking at it. So. I am going to run 1440p for a while. No 4K for me. Too demanding. Yeah, it is. It's way too demanding on the processor. 1080p, 1440p seems to be, you know, everybody runs 1080p. They can either running at 60 hertz, 120 hertz, 192 hertz, but I feel anything on 1080p over 192 hertz is actually going to hurt your game performance after that, just to be honest with you. So that's the reason why I play 1080p at 60 hertz. Don't even have to worry about anything. Said and done. Future proof? Nope, not here. Oh, come on, man. You got to future proof something. You know, me, if I want to play my cards right, like I told you, all I got to do is change my motherboard, my CPU processor, and my RAM, and guess what? I'm good all the way up for another 9-10 years. Just bumping up. I can stay on the AM4, go to AM5 platform anytime, you know, and put myself in that next position of future proofing myself. So well, yeah, I mean 90 FPS is not bad, bro. If you run 90 FPS all day long, you're done. You enjoy your game. Don't cry about it. Don't complain about it. Just enjoy it. And that's what I try to tell everybody. Anything over 60 FPS with no game stuttering. Your screen doesn't stutter. You don't have screen tearing. You don't have stuttering. You don't have nothing. It just plays it very smooth. 60 FPS and up, you're fine. I mean, you don't have to have 300 FPS or 1,000 FPS just because it looks good on your screen. Has nothing to do with your gameplay. Anything that's over 60 FPS, you know, you got 60 FPS or greater, and with no screen tearing, no stuttering, you're fine. I mean, that means you got your system well balanced. That means you're fine. But as long as I'm over 60, Starfield is a very demanding game. Most games are. The newest AAA games are going to be most demanding and taxing on your system. And it's going to require to have more CPU processor. Now that these newest games are coming out are more CPU demanding than GPU demanding. And remember, your graphics card is just for texture manipulation to your monitor. It depicts and sets all the images onto your monitor. Where you get your horsepower from is your CPU processor. So if you got a good enough CPU processor with a good enough GPU, then you can carry yourself for the next 5-10 years. And you don't have to buy any more parts. Buy once, do it right, and have a system for the next 5-10 years. Simple. Yeah, well, next generation stuff is my kind of future proof. MTBK, I want you to understand something. I do agree with you on that, but here's the negative that's going to be coming in. And I want you all to hear this and listen very carefully. As long as the government is controlling and restricting the amount of performance that we can have on our PC, we're never going to be totally future-proofed. We're never going to be totally future-proofed. It's only getting us to that point. Beyond that, we're never going to get there. Me in dad mode? No, man, not today. See, you know what it is? I think I know what it is. I think I know what it is. There it is. You guys couldn't see me. Oh my goodness. You guys couldn't see me. I'm sitting here chatting with you and you guys couldn't see me. Oh my God. No, what it is bang. That's what it is. It's the bang, man. I got the bang on today. So, that's what it is. 45 watts. The other end is just buying a 4090 to spoil oneself for sure. Yeah. So if the government does this, I can care even less. Thanks. You're welcome. Well, you know, guys. Okay. Where some people make the mistake is this. They think that you got to buy a very expensive graphics card to get a great gameplay. You actually don't. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to continue to say this until I turn blue in the face. An intermediate, medium graphics card, cut right down the middle from low to high, right in the center, is the kind of graphics card you want. Now, when it comes to the processor, CPU processor with motherboard, same thing. Cut it right down in the middle. Right down in the middle. That's what I did with the AM4 series. I went from the low side to the high side and came right to the 5700X, which that's a processor a lot of people don't use. Why? It gives me almost the same performance that I, would get out of a 5600X, I would say. You get the low end of a 5600X, but also you get the high end of a 5800X. So in between all those processors, in between going one down and going one up, so that means the 5600X, the 5600X 3D, the 5600, and the 5500 that I get better performance than all those. And then almost equal performance is the 5700X 3D with the 5700X. It's just one has more cache than the other one. Mine still has over 30 megs of cache. So I'm just like 60 megs of cache away. Why would I pay for more and get less? Doesn't make sense. Man, I should have kept my GT 1030 if the GPU doesn't matter. I wonder how that would run my R7 7000X. Well, let me put it to you this way. With your AM5 motherboard, it would run, you would be CPU bound. Basically meaning that your GPU can't keep up with your CPU. Because it running in, I think it's what, a GDDR5, if I remember right, or GDDR4, somewhere in there. Can't remember everything, guys. You're going to have to help me out with this. It's either GDDR4 or GDDR5. But even GDDR6 has a hard time keeping up with AM5. So GDDR6 Plus just meets the bill when it comes to graphics card for AM5. Yeah. So if your graphics card is GDDR6 Plus, then I think you got a good deal. Oh, it's GDDR3? I wasn't sure. You know. So that, I mean, that's if you're going to try to go down to a GT or a GTX, you know, I mean, I would do yourself a favor if you got a GTX graphics card, since they're going to be discontinuing it and you're not going to be able to get drivers soon for it. That would be something you can move up to the 6000 or 7000 series on AMD, or 30 series or 40 series on NVIDIA. So I would move yourself up to a better graphics card. It's great for StarCraft 2, Genshin Impact, if not 13K resolution and so on. It's good. Yeah. Well, you know, let me... Where was it? Okay. This is on Steam hardware, since we want to look. The 3060 12GB is still at the top of the list. Okay. Now, the the 1650, everybody is still hitting on that GTX 1650, which sooner or later that's going to be going bye-bye. I mean, you're not going to be able to get graphics drivers for it. So everybody's going to be moving up to the 3060 or the 3060 Ti, you know, and stay up in that realm for a while. That's the reason why Amazon's pushing the 3060 12GB, is because it's popular on Steam hardware. So as long as it's popular and it's selling, they're going to sell it. That's how they sell things, if it's popular. I will likely not find the time to play Starfield anyway. It's way too much in love with FF7. Yeah, Final Fantasy. I played Final Fantasy, was it 14 or 16? I don't know which one it is, but I played them. And it's not too bad. I mean, if you're into adventure game to where, you follow directions and, you follow the lead of the adventure, then, it'd be good for you. But if you're not into adventure games, that Final Fantasy wouldn't be for you. It's not going to be for you. So, that's something to look at too. You have to look at, are you into the kind of venture kind of things, or... Yes, I know. I do that. I just do that MTBK just to see what you would say. Just let you know that. So, it is an MMO. Yeah, it is. But I tested it out. I think it's pretty cool on Steam. So I don't... The only problem I had was trying to get the software to work. That's where I ran into the problem. But finding out I didn't have something installed, so I had to install it in order for it to work. So, yeah, I mean, depends on what you like, just play your games. This is the thing. Everybody got so wrapped up. And guys, understand this. Do not wrap yourself up into the fact of constant finding technology. Is just going to drive you nuts. Trying to find that next best thing is going to drive you nuts. Take your time when you build your PC. Use the right parts. Don't jump into something that, you're not going to be able to get out of. Just take your time. Yeah, it's on Steam there, machine. You can get Final Fantasy on Steam. It's for free, I hope. So, but... Alrighty. But anyway, I spent my 2 hours with you guys, and I don't like going over 2 hours because I know you guys got many things to do today. So, we're going to go ahead and call it quits right here until next week, next Saturday. Don't forget, 11 a.m., always every Saturday. Right here on the channel. Yeah, it's for free. It's for free, but just to let you know that. But if you stuck with us all this time, make sure you subscribe and you hit the like button. Would help YouTube, get us out there. We're trying to work towards monetization. So, we're so close, it's insane. And also, too, make sure your notification bell is on. So this way you'll know when I post the next video. MTBK says, yeah, busy suffering from a lot. Team surrendering versus beginning bots. Was fun, Jay. Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. But we're going to get out of here. So until the next time and the next video, you know who it is. And we will see you on the next one.